the Around the NFL podcast crew getting back together to try to find some scenarios, Dan, for your favorite NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah, there's 15 by my count, guys, that are kind of in limbo a little bit. That's a lot, but it was similar last year, so it's a little bit of a new era. Let's get it going, and the heroes are going to help me out here. Greg, who's somebody from that list that jumps out to you in terms of uncertainty?
Well, I don't know how this has happened. Siciliano mentioned favorite quarterbacks. Jameis Winston is a quarterback that I'm intrigued by because people want to bury him. He has, a career 7.7 yards per attempt. That's higher than Drew Brees and Tom Brady. His best case scenario to me is staying in New Orleans and being their starter, and I think that's going to happen. I think the worst case scenario is him returning to New Orleans, perhaps, and watching Taysom Hill throw 3-yard passes for another 16 weeks. That would be bad. Or even landing in a place like Chicago. I think ultimately Drew Brees will retire. I know, Dan, though, you've got a little, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a conspiracy theory, but you're wondering why Brees hasn't made that call quite yet.
Well, it's the sled thing, too. Like setting personal records on the sled push is not something usually a man in his 40s does when he's done with his professional athletic life. I don't know. It's just something to keep an eye on is more my thought. What about you, Mark Sessler? Who jumps out to you?
Well, I'm going to go to your favorite team, Dan, the New York Jets, and Sam Darnold, because I find this to be a curious situation. This is a guy that I think a lot of people around the league still believe in, but I'm going to start with the worst case scenario, and I hate to double down on what Greg just mentioned about the Chicago Bears, but there's only a couple teams out there that I think would trade for Darnold, and I could see if things went real south, you go there, that doesn't work out, and it's 2024, and he's hosting Inside USC Football on Channel 97 by 2024. You don't want to be that if you're Sam Darnold, but best case scenario, let's just say the Jets, with Mike LaFleur running a Kyle Shanahan dipped offense, which I'm a Shanahanite. I think it would absolutely lift the Jets up if Sam Darnold could be a guy with an offense built around him. I'll tell you something. The last person I talked to at LAX before this whole pandemic hit was Sam Darnold. I happened to be sitting next to him. He was eating a plate of eggs and things that come with eggs like bacon and potatoes. I love this guy. I told him all about you, Dan. I told him about Dan's dad, Keith Hansis, who is a Jets fan. I would just love to see in one world where this works out for New York and Darnold stays and takes them to the promised land. This is someone that I've not lost faith in entirely yet, my friends.
As the great Joe Beningo, late of WFAN, says, from your lips to God's ears, my friend.
There we go.
I'll wrap with Jimmy G in San Francisco. Best case scenario, San Francisco, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan shut out all the outside noise and say, this is our guy. We're rolling forward with him, and it sets up a do-or-die 5th year for Jimmy G in San Francisco, and that to me makes sense. I understand they're kicking tires, but give him another shot. The worst-case scenario for Garoppolo, which is also there's a pretty good chance of this, that they do and they find someone else from an outside source. Maybe it's Sam Darnold, for crying out loud, and Jimmy G gets shipped off to a team where all of a sudden he's fighting for a starting job because there's not a lot of open jobs out there. Maybe he goes to the Patriots, and that's a neat little fit for him. But he's leaving Kyle Shanahan in a really good organization in San Francisco, and it kind of finds himself around age 30 in a bit of an abyss trying to figure things out. I'd like to see Jimmy G get one more shot with the Niners, though, Andrew.